I figured it'd be a good time to start like a podcast of just Mopar guys for circle track racing. There's a lot of information about drag racing. That's mostly what Mopars are known for, unfortunately. But there's been some success stories in circle track and just people going out there and trying with a Mopar. I started with a Mopar, started in 4 cylinders. My dad, he raced like street stock style. I'm originally from New York. So I grew up racing 4 cylinders there, neons the whole time. I started when I was 13, from 13 till I was 17. Then I left for Texas, I was in the Air Force. And then I took a long hiatus. I raced last year in New York with a 4 cylinder. Won a big show, got second a couple times I think. I can't even remember with you, but won the PAP shootout, so that's probably one of my coolest trophies I've ever got. It's got the PBR cam in there. But yeah, that's basically what I want this to be about. It's just Mopar circle track cars. I prefer dirt. I like dirt. I grew up racing dirt. Actually, I started racing on pavement. I forgot about that. I raced pavement at Evans Mills Speedway, I think 2 times. Then I went to Can-Am Speedway, raced dirt, which is like a half mile or 5/8, whatever they call it. Now it's a different size. I raced AIS on pavement, which is Adirondack International Speedway. We did pretty good there. That was in like a sport compact. So originally they're all stock when we started racing. And then from stock, we could do like race tires and cams and computers, I think. And then after a while, it was pretty much open. You could do whatever you want. So we did that. And then, so this year, I just started, I looked at the rules, and it's mostly IMCA around here, where I live. And then if you go up northwest to Lubbock, they're USRA, Amarillo's USRA, and then East Texas is USRA. So I've been doing some USRA races lately, but when I first got into it, I live like 7 minutes from Abilene Speedway, so I knew, I plan on running there, so that's an IMCA track. I looked at the rules, and IMCA stock is, that's the cooler class, because then you could actually run a Mopar body like a Challenger. But you also run a G-body chassis in that, if you're not familiar with IMCA. Everything in IMCA is G-body based pretty much. So our class, it's G-body, like stock front suspension. I think you can move the upper control arm, but the rears have to stay the same. And you can make the spring pocket taller front and rear to run a longer spring front and rear. And then the rear control arm mounts are the same. So it's basically like a Monte Carlo with longer springs and shocks on it, the whole chassis. And so sport mod is that, and it has, the aluminum body. It looks like a modified kind of. So they're cheaper to run, and it's less work to get a body made than go and finding a Challenger. Because for IMCA, if you run a Mopar, it has to be like 2,000 up. So you can run like an Intrepid or a Challenger if it's a 2-door car. I guess you could run a PT Cruiser convertible body if you wanted to. That'd be pretty sweet. But yeah, so that's why I picked the sport mod, and been around racing long enough where I know if you start from scratch, it's going to be a way bigger uphill battle than if you just buy a good car. So I bought a good car that was ready to run. It's a Clonch. Clonch is bigger in East Texas than where I live. IRP is like the biggest. That's what I should have got. Kind of kicked myself for not getting an IRP. My car came with a bunch of spare parts, so I knew that's what I wanted. I just bought someone's, they're done with racing. I bought all their stuff. It's just cheaper to do it that way. So I got an extra rear end, basically a housing, and then axles were in it, but it was all torn apart. And then 3 or 4 extra transmissions and some extra knuckles and stuff. So not a whole bunch of extra stuff, but it was supposed to be a low night engine. It was like, I can't remember what the guy told me, dyno time in a race or 2, something like that. I raced it 4 times. It blew up. It was Chevy powered. Forgot to mention that. Sorry, everybody. But I wanted a car that was ready to go. So I get seat time, and then I bought one with low nights on the engine so I could run it for this season, get comfortable, feel it out. First time in a rear-wheel drive car. Well, I've driven a Northeastern Sportsman once. That was just for a race. But anyways, so I was gonna feel it out for this season and sell the Chevy engine and then put a Mopar on it for next year. But it blew up. Imagine that. Dropped the valve. If you go on my YouTube channel, there's a video of me tearing it apart. Did that. What else? God, it's hard to remember off the top of my head. Not very good at remembering this stuff. So I've just been collecting parts. I'm gonna run a Muncie because I have 4 of them. They're all different gear ratios. I'm trying to find like an A230 because we have to run a 3-speed in Sport Mod, a factory 3-speed. So it'd be pretty difficult to find one. And I already have all those transmissions, so I just bought the Mopar bell housing, which is Mopar Muncie, which is pretty expensive. I think it was $800 or $900. So did that, and then I messaged a guy on Facebook that I saw. He had a Mopar. He was up racing in Lubbock, and I messaged him, and I'm like, hey, what do you run for a transmission? Wondering if he had like a pilot bearing, because that's all I'm pretty much lacking for bolting the transmission up to a Mopar. And he's like, oh, I run an A230, and this guy was Forrest. I run his car now since my car blew up. So that's how I got introduced to Forrest. I just messaged him out of the blue, and I'm like, hey, what transmission you running? And we messaging back and forth, and then we didn't talk for a little bit. Then all of a sudden he messaged me, and he's like, hey, do you want to run my car? I'm like, sure. I think we were supposed to run pussyfooting it, for lack of better terms. Then we've been all over with Forrest, and very grateful for him letting me run his car. Got a lot more seat time. Hopefully I can have an episode with Forrest. He ran it last at Amarillo. I went up there and helped cruise with him, dropped the car off the jack, put the ball joint in upside down on the control arm. Just rushing, not thinking. And so if anyone wants to do this, get on here, message me. I'm gonna message some people. Obviously I want to do Forrest. I'd like to get my dad on, but more than likely my dad won't do it. But if you know anyone who's ran a Mopar and dirt track, or just even circle track, like I said, I like dirt track cars, but I'll do anything circle track, road race. I don't know, I think it's interesting. Or more so just trying to get the word out there about Mopars running like in different types of racing. Everyone knows about Mopar drag racing, put a 904 or 727 in it. Oiling mods you don't really have to worry about. You're only going for a quarter mile. So they can get away with a lot more stuff. I'm not saying they don't put effort into it. Those guys do oiling mods and stuff like that. And like their transmission setups and stuff like that. That's all interesting, but that's pretty well documented compared to the Mopars that turn. Trying to think of a name. Hopefully I have a name by the end of this episode, or by the time I get it up. But again, anyone who raced a Mopar and something that wasn't drag racing, have them get a hold of me, and I'd like to do like an episode with them. I think it'd be pretty interesting. Hopefully we can grow this and maybe get people more interested in racing a Mopar. The more people that are racing, I know like circle track guys, they don't like to give out secrets, but the more people who are involved and interested in running a Mopar, the more part support for the guys who are already running it. So it's beneficial, and everyone knows circle tracks mostly about setup more than engine power. So I don't think people should be too worried about giving out secrets, but you never know. But yeah, this will conclude our first episode. Actually, hold on. I got some questions wrote down. See if I have anything. Nope. So I think, yeah, that's pretty much about me. I ran 4 cylinders. I won a track championship at Fulton Speedway in 2016 or 2017. Won races at Can-Am. Evans Mills, I only won a race in a spectator race. That was also in a Neon. Brewerton, I've won a race. Brewerton Speedway. Paradise Speedway, I've won a race. Did pretty good in 4 cylinders. It was a pretty good chance we were gonna win wherever we went with the 4 cylinder. Definitely gonna be on the top 3 wherever we went. But we did really good in 4 cylinders, and then now I've been kind of struggling now rear wheel drive. Got to reteach myself to do everything, so it's a little different. But yeah, if you have any questions about me, leave them in the comments. Try to answer them. I know I don't really show myself or like talk about myself on here, so it'd be kind of interesting to see what people say. But thanks for watching, listening.